Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 24 in the book of Philippians in a podcast called Be With Me. I'm going to title today, The Mind Drives the Bus. The mind drives the bus. And here's the thing is you are going to need this lesson when? Today. Now, Paul says the secret to this lesson, it calls it a secret. So it's, not everybody knows this, but it is knowable and you can learn it and you can control your mind. And in the end, we'll find out that the mind should be and is the thing that drives the bus of our life. Now, remember, Philippians is a book about setting the mind in a certain way. We have the mind of Christ. He says, set your mind to prayer and begging and supplication, and then set your mind and make it full of truth and whatever is honorable, whatever is just, pure, lovely, commendable, etc. That was yesterday. And he's kind of chasing out anxiety by setting your mind and filling your mind with these good things. Now, he says to the Philippians, think about me and imitate me and practice what I do. There's a circumstance of need that Paul has, that these guys are concerned about him and possibly have no opportunity to give to him. So there's this situation of need. And they're going to come back to that in a couple verses. But in the middle, here's the pearl that he gives about how you set your mind and what the secret is. What drives? So here's the big question for today is what drives the bus when you are in need? Does need affect your mind, or does the mind affect the need? And which is primary? Is it what you set your mind on, or is it the need? So here it is. This is from Philippians chapter 4, verse 9. What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you. That's kind of the end goal there. I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now, at length, you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. Now here, and then he's going to go off in this little section here about his mind control and his mind driving the bus. Not that I'm speaking about being in need, for I've learned this, in whatever situation, good and bad, I am to be content, this mind control. Verse 12, I know how to be brought low. Again, he's going to talk about circumstances. And I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned, again from his mind, the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. So God is very concerned about the active mind in Christian. And likely, as you face today, this very day, there's going to be an effort of your mind necessary to stay on track. Why? Because the situation is going to come up and you're going to want to be turned sort of in the wrong direction, and you're going to have the discipline and face a hardship or an attack or a doctrinal change or some sort of deception or a failure of someone in your life or maybe even a betrayal. And the key of this that Paul says is this is something that I have learned. In other words, it's the whole theme of Philippians. I have learned. I can set my mind towards being content. So I know, so again, setting his mind how to be brought low. I know how to abound. So his mind is leading the charge, whether lowness or abundance, in every circumstance, whether plenty, abundance, hunger, need. And he says, this is a secret. So you got to set your mind this way. Learn the secret is his charge. The verse, I can do all things through him who strengthens me. This is probably the most misinterpreted verse, one of the most misinterpreted verse in the Bible, and certainly the most misinterpreted verse in Philippians. What it does not mean is that I can affect all circumstances positively. It doesn't mean you can win every game if you're an athlete. What it does mean, though, is that I can set my mind right whether I'm winning the game or losing the game, no matter what the scoreboard says. So no matter what the circumstances, I can do it. I can do the mind part of this right. So does this mean in the context, Paul is saying, hey, watch me in my actions, but also watch me in my mind. I have learned to be content. I have learned to turn towards him. I have learned a secret to abound in plenty, to abound in abundance, but also abound mentally in hunger, need when I am brought low. So does your Christianity say, hey, I love being a Christian as long as I'm in a time of abundance? But what about the time of need and being brought low? Do you have a situationally dependent faith? Paul says don't do that. Do your circumstances affect your convictions? That is, so we're going to ask the big question today is, who's driving the bus? Do external events drive the bus and affect your internal controls? And if so, this is backwards. This is weak. This is being tossed to and fro. This is not standing firm. This is not setting your mind. And this is not being found in him no matter what. So he's saying, don't do that. What he is saying is Paul is calling, and the Lord is calling, not just Paul, is calling for like mind control, the governance of our countenance, of our peace with God at all times, is to be free from circumstances. So whether the circumstances are positive or low, our countenance, our peace with the Lord is the same. Why? Because we've learned, we know stuff. And that affects our bearing no matter what the circumstances. So in other words, the big summary is the mind is driving the bus of the circumstances. The mind is driving the bus to be content no matter what the weather of the circumstances are. So I heard a friend say the other day, hey, I'm struggling, quote unquote, and described a circumstance. And exactly, I was so proud of him for saying that. It's because that is an external event, and, it could be a broken relationship or a money trouble or a death thing or something you don't understand, or why is there evil, or why is there tsunamis? Exactly. This is exactly where the Christian life is fought. Bad circumstances, and then what are you going to do about your mind? What's driving the bus? Is it your mind or is it the circumstances? And here's the big conclusion, is what's driving the bus? Let's be unmoved of mind, no matter what the circumstances. Let's have our mind drive the bus. Thank you for listening. Use this today.